Welcome to a series of presentations on 13.1 Workload Management. For workload management to accurately report resource usage, it must be properly configured. Unaccounted for processes, missing workload group performance goals, holes in policy activations, etc. can cause reporting issues. This presentation covers the main issues and their corrective actions provided in 13.1 Workload Management to collect and report on resource usage. For accurate accounting, all processes in the system's workload must be assigned to workload groups. In pre-13.1 Workload Management, it was recommended that the administrator create a workload group and membership rule that would catch any process not already assigned to another workload group. This was often referred to as the Others workload group. This worked, if properly defined, but was easily corrupted when other changes to the configuration were made. To eliminate the issues with setting up such a workload group, one is now automatically created. To simplify the configuration of workload management and the collection of data, two new Unisys-defined workload groups have been created. Unisys Unassigned and Unisys MCP. The Unisys Unassigned workload group replaced the previous best practice of creating a catch-all type membership rule that assigned processes to an others type group. This workload group will automatically contain any process that is not specifically assigned to a workload group via either membership rules or the use of the workload group task attribute. This workload group is unaffected by any change made to the system's configuration. The Unisys MCP workload group is used to report all CPU usage that cannot be directly charged against a specific user's process, but provides support on behalf of these processes. For example, the allocation and deallocation of memory resources, process load balancing between available CPUs, etc., all require some amount of CPU resource. This workload group will never show a process count other than 0 and does not collect I/O data, as it is tracking work that is not visible. The new Unisys-defined workload groups and the previous two, Unisys_SW1 and Unisys_WLM, have several restrictions as to their use and maintenance. They cannot be deleted, renamed, or support membership rules. The only allowed performance goal type is monitor only. The following are the minimum configuration requirements necessary to collect resource usage data. All of the system's workload processes must be assigned to some workload group. All workload groups, UserDefined and Unisys-defined, must have performance goals defined in all policies that are used. The collect group statistics and group filter host configurations options must be selected for all workload groups. There must be an active policy running at all times. The workload management must run at all times in either monitor or balancing mode. This is a very simple and minimal workload management configuration running on a single processor LX100. It is basically idle with just the normal background processes and the workload manager running. There are 5 workload groups defined, 4 being the Unisys-defined groups. The workload group icon with the yellow padlock indicates that the workload group is locked against change. For example, if you right-click on the Unisys MCP group, you can see that the only available action is to edit the workload group description. While right-clicking on the UserDefined group test group, all of the workload group maintenance actions are allowed. The workload group view pane shows the current process count for each of the workload groups. Please note that the Unisys MCP group shows a process count of 0. While the goal monitor does report CPU usage for the group, the processes that are accounting for the CPU usage and reported in this group are not visible and cannot be broken out. With just the 3 Unisys-defined groups, Unisys SW1, Unisys Unassigned, and Unisys WLM, All of the processes in the system's workloads can be monitored. The addition of any user-defined workload groups will only move processes from the Unisys Unassigned group to them. For example, adding a membership rule to the test group workload group to assign the prints command handler reduces the processes in Unisys Unassigned by 1, but the total processes for the system remains the same. See that the process count is the same. The process is no longer in the unassigned group, and it is now in the test group. In this configuration, have only a single manual policy that runs indefinitely with performance goals defined for each of the 5 workload groups. If I attempt to assign a performance goal other than monitor only, I am told that the assignment is not allowed. The last item that needs to be configured is the statistics data collection options. By right-clicking on the host name, selecting Host Admin Configuration, you open the Host Configuration dialog for the host. Here there are several options that allow you to specify the amount and type of data that is to be collected in the statistics files. For accurate CPU reporting in either a metered or a non-metered environment, you need to be collecting all the workload group data. You do that by selecting the Collect Group Statistics checkbox. You open the Group Filter dialog and verify that you either have all of the workload groups selected or you have selected the Collect Statistics All Groups option. This option is much safer because it automatically adjusts for as you add and delete groups. For additional information on ClearPath Workload Management, please go to the unisys.com/unisys-product website. There are additional presentations, white papers, more how-to movies, and much more. This concludes this presentation on ClearPath MCP Workload Management.